Candidate Biden came here. And he came and he knelt to his money masters here, the Council on Foreign Relations. He knelt to his money masters. He pledged allegiance to the money masters. He kissed their ruby ring, so to speak, kissed their feet. Promised he would give away the entire nation just to protect his son Hunter and himself and Obama and Hillary. But in the following week, he went where? He wouldn't notice. I know it. He went to Warm Springs, Georgia. That's a massive story, folks. Warm Springs, Georgia is this massive story. All right, it goes back into the history of the Roosevelts. All right, it goes back into the history of FDR. It was called the Little White House. FDR went there for treatment. And then it turned into Roosevelt philanthropy. I'll put that in quotes too. It became the March of Dimes. You know, I don't like to give these criminals too much credit, but the March of Dimes bankrolled the Salk vaccine. I don't want to give these criminals too much credit, but that's where the good ends. See, but why does it tie to? But what it ties to is the Kennedy assassination, because Uncle George, Oswald's best friend, when he went before his Warren Commission testimony, he said he was working for Sinclair Oil. People connected with Sinclair Oil. Well, that's Rockefeller Center. Sinclair Oil was headquartered in Rockefeller Center. But here's the thing. Sinclair Oil got bought out by who? Well, part of it did. Part was bought out by the Rockefellers. The other part was bought out by British Petroleum. Well, British Petroleum was started as what? It started out as the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. See, the British government owned part of British Petroleum. This all goes back to Teapot Dome and what was going on with Teapot. The Rockefellers didn't want the government in the oil business, but the British got through. They owned part of British Petroleum, and they were getting all their oil out of Iran. Okay, and what happened? Mossadegh came along, and Mossadegh nationalized the oil industry, threw the British out, threw the Western oil companies out. And then what happened was the Rockefellers organized a coup to destroy. Well, Mossadegh was democratically elected. I see this institute, this Council on Foreign Relations stands for the eradication of democracy, because if you go in there, there's a shrine to David Rockefeller, who was part of the committee to assassinate, the Rockefeller Roundtable to assassinate JFK. And they destroyed democracy anywhere in the world. Well, if you assassinate an American president, that's not exactly, that's an attack on democracy. And also, there's a shrine there to John McCoy, who was the top Rockefeller lawyer, and he was chairman of the Ford Foundation, had an interlocking directorship of the Rockefeller Foundation. He too, but also he was on the Warren Commission. See, they were part of the Warren Commission cover-up, including Allen Dulles. They're all part of the Warren Commission cover-up. See, what it was a network of foundations, 501c controlled by the Rockefellers, to pretty much plunder this country, control America's corporation, and give this country away to the world for the good of the Rockefellers. And the only reason Biden won was to cover up the truth, to protect his son, because Trump would have sent his son to prison. Because, see, that's what happened. See, 2 years before the election, Hunter Biden came under a Justice Department and FBI investigation. See, that's when Joe got back in the ring again. See, because what goes to Joe, Hunter leads to Joe, and also leads to Obama. Because at the time, Obama was president. The vice president got no power, so it has to go through the president. What basically was just a super elaborate kickback scheme. But I want to talk about candidate Biden. When the Rockefellers selected him, he was ordered to stay in the basement because the Rockefellers had unleashed COVID to destroy the Trump administration. And under their bioweapons general, Bill Gates, see how they look at me? Under their bioweapons general, Bill Gates, and their so-called doctor, quack scientist, Fauci, yeah, they're looking at me. See, the Rockefellers, it's okay when they spy on us, but you put a camera on them, they freak out. See, they don't want the truth out. They don't want anybody to know what they're up to. They're very sneaky. Well, you see how they did that name, Marquesta. It's Betsy Rockefeller. Marquesta. And all that stuff was handled by David Rockefeller, believe me. But they ordered Joe in the basement. Dwight Eisenhower was America's first absentee president. The Rockefeller brothers put him together, and they sent him fishing and golfing, and sent him out to paint pretty pictures, sent him playing cards. And the Rockefeller, you know the old saying, when the cat's away? Yeah, the Rockefeller's brothers were running Washington. Anything that happened during the Eisenhower administration, anything down and dirty, was the work of Nelson Rockefeller and his brothers. Goes on and on and on. The death of James Forstrell. See, that's what they were doing. James Forstrell, not James Forstrell, I mean CIA. He was working for the CIA. He was doing biological weapons research. I think of his name now. He was tossed out the building at the Conrad Hilton Hotel. Frank Olson, yeah. He was doing CIA, working biological weapons work for the CIA. They were releasing biological agents all over the city of New York. You know, people knew the whole truth. So you just have no idea what these Rockefellers been up to. But I'm not talking about Joe Biden. And Joe Biden came, or candidate Biden, the Rockefellers pretty much stowed him away in his basement. And they let him only come out. They let him come out a couple times. They let him come out to see the people, but the people, nobody showed up.